Hello, my name is Mage and welcome to Black and White Thinking. And finally, to my thoughts and feelings on the Season 3 finale of Harley Quinn. Okay, before I get into this video, I just want to discuss a few things, housekeeping wise. First, if you like this crappy content, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, sharing, all those good things. 2, I am going to be streaming on Twitch every Tuesday from now indefinitely, so if you're a Twitch person and you want to come talk to me about my videos or literally anything in the world, please come do that. Thirdly, I'm really sorry this video is so late. I know it's late. I've been sat on my notes for a long time. I gave myself a few extra days between the end of the season and writing my notes because I wanted to think about it. And then I got really sick. Chronic illness is terrible, and the last week has kind of kicked my ass. So apologies again. I know that by the time I get this video up, it's going to feel less than relevant, but I feel like it's important for me to finish regardless. So, episode 10. Did I like it? It was fine. I have had some minor issues with this season, I guess. Not issues, I guess I just have not enjoyed it as much as I thought I might. I didn't get my hopes up, so I'm not feeling too heartbroken about it, thank God. But there is a lot about this season that I personally just didn't vibe with. I want to start by talking about the spoiler issue that I've had all season. So, in my previous videos, I mentioned a big spoiler that I saw at the beginning of the season in regards to a press release that was released for the comics. And I know this video is probably gonna sound really moany. I know most people really enjoyed the finale, and I think that's great. Like, I'm well aware that I'm probably in the minority here, and that's, like, totally fine. I'm glad other people liked it. I feel like it would suck way more if everyone hated it. I'm glad that other people liked it. Anyway, back to the spoiler. So, I read this spoiler that essentially said, before the season had even aired, that Harley would end the season as a member of the Bat family, and that Ivy would end the season as the leader of the Legion of Doom, which, I'm not gonna lie, has definitely highly influenced, I think, how I saw this season playing out. Because I could always see the ending coming, I think that's left me judging it a little bit more because I knew the ending, so I expected it to be delivered on. Now, I did not come across that spoiler on purpose. I literally completely stumbled upon it by accident, so it's not like I purposely spoiled myself and now I'm facing consequences. DC very much spoiled me, which is annoying. I wonder though, and the reason I bring up this spoiler is how differently would I feel about this season if I didn't know going into it how it was going to end? Would it have felt more earned? I don't necessarily think so, but I definitely think it's food for thought. So yeah, like I said, it's not really a secret that I found large parts of this season lackluster. Disjointed even. And we all know that this season was butchered by DC executives. Now that the season is over though, I do think the whole situation was probably more tied together than I originally gave it credit for, even if I don't like how it came together. However, I do think this season had an incredible amount of cognitive dissonance. The show has been saying a lot of things, but doing other things. So there has been this clash in what they have been having characters say versus what they've been having characters do, or versus how they've been having characters speak versus how they as authors have been speaking through their themes. Pretentious, I know, but bear with me. I guess my biggest issue with this season is that I wanted there to be some kind of true happiness moments. Some moments where Harley and Ivy truly got to pause. And I feel like there weren't many of them. There was the odd scene, but there was no significant episode in which anything calmed down long enough for a conversation to really be had. Every conversation about their feelings came after an argument. I mean, honestly, the fact that Ivy almost married a pet rock last season was completely wiped away in this one, so they could make room for a Joker episode and a Kite Man spin-off. I just don't feel like what should have been focused on was focused on. And that really is Harley and Ivy's happiness as a couple, because that is the place of this season in terms of how this entire show is going to play out as an arc. I'm not saying there isn't space to further dive into Joker and Batman, I just definitely don't think it was in this season. I actually feel like we should have seen more Kite Man, and that's coming from me. But from a story perspective, it makes no sense that we only saw Kite Man for about 30 seconds, in which he didn't even really talk to Ivy, and spoke to Harley instead, it feels very brushed under the carpet. And I know that it's brushed under the carpet because the creators of this show have decided to essentially quit this show so they can go write and help start a Kite Man spin-off. I also think Harley's been a little out of character this season, and I know I'm alone in that. I know a lot of people who think this act of jumping in front of the zombie sick feels in character for her. I don't really agree because everything she does feels super flimsy. It feels half-assed. And after the last 2 seasons, I feel like we're kind of treading old ground at this point. It feels regressive for Harley to be so indecisive. Like, what actually has inspired this change in Harley? People seem to argue that the seeds were laid in the past 2 seasons, and I agree some were. Harley is definitely not a villain, she's an anti-hero. But aligning her with Batman in such a clear way, especially after Batman spent the entire season making Ivy's life hell and painting her as a villain in something that he's done wrong, we'll get into that in a minute, don't worry about it. It feels regressive to me, and I wouldn't have chosen to do this way, personally. Unless the writers were going to have the balls to actually discuss Harley's very obvious and diagnosable mental health issues that I may have mentioned before. Because, fun fact, people with BPD, borderline personality disorder, a mental health issue that I have, and I often feel Harley represents quite well through her characteristics, through many different interpretations. One of the symptoms of that, and one of the symptoms of it that is particularly unique to BPD, is a perpetual lack of identity and identity issues that lead you to forming big life decisions based on what you think other people will say about you. So in this episode where she talks about how she didn't want to make a decision about her own life because she thought it would risk Joker or Ivy, and the flashbacks in the Batman episode where we saw her being like, whatever Mr. J likes, I like, doing her whole Mara impression, that is in character for Harley generally. But given everything that we've seen in this show, I felt it was a little reductive. I really do think the show suffered this season for sidelining Harley and Ivy's relationship. And I know loads of people are going to be like, well, you're a shipper, that's just what shippers don't. I just think that was reductive. I think they could have spent more time utilising them as a couple, and perhaps as characters they would have been less loose cannon-y. I also struggle with the idea that Harley is, 1, equatable to Batman, and 2, a hero. He's the hero Gotham needs right now, not the one it deserves, right? When Bruce saves a cat from a tree, call me, And this is where a lot of my issue lies with Harley standing in for him, because this show, and many versions of Batman, like to paint him as a hero because it's easy, simple writing. It's easier for this show to make meta jokes about how Bruce is a capitalist, but not actually address it within the narrative, because they don't. Again, even with Bruce being arrested at the end of the episode, Bruce is not punished within the narrative in any way. His character is not slandered. He is still in the right. The people that respect him still respect him. The only person he's really pissed off are people that don't like him already, and the Joker. Harley is incredibly sympathetic to him, whilst also making jokes for the last 3 episodes about how he hoards his money like a dragon. The show has been very flimsy in that regard. They have painted Bruce as a sad, traumatized little boy who deserves our empathy, and Ivy as a blood-sucking witch who wants to destroy all of Gotham for no good reason. And that's just not fair. The show is really lacking villains this season because Ivy is not on her own a believable villain in this universe, and nobody else this season acted like one. Bruce was supposed to be the bad guy, but he ended up being an antagonist in the end because DC will never actually let him be bad. And so in the end, the rich white guy billionaire is painted as forgivable, in a world where Ivy almost got put down like a dog by 2 pretentious children. One of the things that's always fascinated me about Batman is that his morality is kind of fickle, even though everyone thinks it's strong. Bruce is a lot of things, and at the top of that list is a hypocrite. And that's kind of what makes him fascinating, right? And it's okay for him to be like that. It just feels really, really strange for this show to have Harley excuse it, especially in a world where she's dating this Ivy, and Ivy was almost, again, killed by 2 children, essentially, for something that Bruce did. Because Ivy may have got involved with the zombies, but Bruce did this. regardless, this was Bruce's idea, Bruce started this, and Bruce hasn't, within the narrative, really suffered any consequences for that. And to be honest, he shouldn't even be on par with Ivy in terms of the emotional weight of his decisions, because he is a minor side character, or at least he was until this season, and Ivy is the heart of the show. I just feel like Harley and Ivy have both been kind of done rough this season in different ways, and I am very much ranting now. I feel like none of this is going to make sense. I keep going off my notes, going off on a tangent. I guess really my point being, which I kind of said before, is I feel like this was a season 4. Like, this could have all been season 4, right? This should have been season 4. There's still so much between season 2 and season 3 that did not get fixed. And it definitely wasn't fixed in Eat, Bang, Kill. I know that they wanted it to be fixed in Eat, Bang, Kill. They wanted to rush over the gay stuff and hide it in the comics so that the show could be more focused on Batman. But 1, that plan didn't work. The writing just didn't hold up. And 2, I'm not that stupid. And I'm not going to accept that as a good season. I know when DC are playing with me, I've been doing this for too long. And by doing this, I don't mean making YouTube videos about DC, I just mean reading DC, being in DC spaces. Like, any excuse, and I've said this on this channel many times, any excuse DC can get to censor Harley and Ivy, even a smidge, they will. And this show may be the least censored, but it's still censored. I really would bet money on it, serious money on it, and I don't have serious money. I was really disappointed that Harley did not tell Ivy about Batman being Bruce being Batman. And mostly I'm just angry at the writers for thinking I'm stupid enough to believe that Ivy is stupid enough to have not worked it out. That feels a little bit insulting, because there's no reasonable way to think that Selina, Joker, Harley all know, Babs, they all know about Bruce, and Ivy doesn't. And also, it is going to break Ivy if she finds out that Selina and Harley have kept that from her, especially after everything that has gone down in this season. That will be heart-wrenching for her. This Ivy cannot cope with that trauma, but whatever. I'm sure she'll just roll over like she has most of this season when issues have come up. Wow, this video is so much more smarmy than I expected it to be. I'm really not trying to be an arse. I guess I had a lot to release about this season. I'm sorry, guys, I'm sorry. It was nice to see Giancarlo. I do not buy that Ivy would work for the Lord at all in any circumstances, ever. Not this Ivy anyway, like maybe 92 Ivy in the background, where she was the only female in the group. And honestly, I think the fact that Ivy did join the Legion of Doom is just more evidence of censorship, because it's clear to me, or at least clear in my opinion, that Ivy isn't really allowed to do anything unless that thing is killing everyone. And I do think that's a DC decision. DC censor Ivy maybe more than any other character I've ever seen in the gallery. It's kind of insane. But Ivy's role really has kind of been everywhere this season. It's been messy as all hell. She's been the love interest, a lead character, the antagonist. She's kind of just been playing whatever role the plot has required her, when I feel like all of these elements could have been utilised at once instead of in separate occasions to make her seem more multifaceted than erratic. Ugh. I don't know, it's just hard, because I liked the concept behind the Bruce storyline a lot, and I liked the Bruce episode a lot, and I like this show a lot. Like, this doesn't bring me joy to talk shit about it, even if I think it's necessary when I do feel shitty about the show to talk about it. The execution of this storyline kind of felt like the antithesis of the show's original message. A show about Harley being Harley Quinn has somehow become about Harley being Batman. And I don't know, I just think they could have done literally anything else. There's just been so many moments where my brain has hurt in regards to Harley. Like, I know that Babs and Dick are pretentious little bat children. It's why I like them in the context of the Bat family. But they are not Harley's friends. Like, the way that Babs talks about Harley sacrificing herself to stop Ivy and save humanity, Harley should have been like, fuck you, fuck this, I'm out of here. Like, I don't understand how when Harley, in quotes, saves the world, is a hero and good and pure, but when Ivy saves the world / Gotham, it's literally just brushed over. Ugh, there's so much to be said right now about heroism and infantilization. Yeah, wow, this has brought up so many emotions. I don't want Harley and Ivy to have relationship woes, but I can't actually believe how quickly Ivy's world being shattered by Harley and by Harley's actions was just brushed off. Especially after I trust you with my life, but I don't trust you with my heart. Great fucking example there. I love Harley Quinn. Don't come at me in the comments. Or do, please. Don't see this as me shitting on Harley. That's not something you're ever going to find happening here, but I don't know. The writing was lacking. Ivy does look amazing in her Kitten Hills OG shout out outfit. I want to dress like this for Halloween. I won't look as good, but I might do it on stream because it'll be fun. Could have done without the randomly animated fat phobia in the supermarket. Shit like this drives me nuts. Okay, some thoughts kind of on the Joker. I'm not going to deny that the Joker has been one of the more interesting characters this season, and I found all of this chaos enjoyable. In the wider context of this story, I really don't like it. It feels like, again, a complete cognitive dissonance issue. How can the show really want me to see this as Harley's solo adventures of freedom, whilst also allowing a character like Joker, her abuser, complete freedom within the narrative? This show portrayed Ivy as more dangerous to the world, and specifically to Harley this season, more dangerous than anyone else. And it's left a really bad taste in my mouth. I wish there had been a better way to reach this conclusion. I also think Harley's newfound heroism aligns with DC's obsession with absolving her of sin, so they can reinforce the Madonna Whore complex. But honestly, who wants to hear me go on about that? Harley being a superhero and being fantasy good very much relies on the logic that Joker made Harley the way she is, and without him that she is good. Good, again, in that fantasy good and bad way. Again, I find that really infantilizing. Harley has agency, even in Mad Love. This show, literally did an entire episode about that, about how Harley jumped into the acid herself. So again, I feel like there really needed to be more work done to get to this point. Hard Rain's Gonna Fall was, I guess, important in the grand scheme of things. It gave us something to aim for. We all knew it was coming, so we all knew the characters would meet at this one place at the end. But Clay's role in it wasn't particularly important, and I do feel like Clay and Shark were done a bit dirty this season as well. They felt a bit more like hired help or hangers-on rather than part of the fellowship we watched form over 2 seasons. I did enjoy watching Joker arrest Bruce for tax fraud. Objectively hilarious, and I've been waiting for Joker to act on the Bruce Batman knowledge since the best line in the show was uttered.
Where's my goddamn electric car, Bruce?
I also love botanist, biochemist Ivy and psychiatrist Harley. Do wish she was a shrink to literally anyone else but Bruce. Even Psycho gets how fucked up he is. While we're on the arrest, I've got to go back to the socialism thing. This show really likes to play the kind of we know socialism card, but we're not going to require the characters to do it. And playing Bruce as sympathetic is kind of the least socialist thing to do ever. Which is why, again, it makes sense for Joker as a character to arrest Bruce. It's totally perfect. I wish the narrative, the writers themselves had been a bit more harsh with Bruce outside of that one singular act. They should have had someone like Ivy or Harley at least hand him the shit for what he did, but he just got told that everything was going to be okay. I think they're trying to make a joke, but I don't think it's playing as well, at least for me, as intended. Wow, I'm so sorry guys. This was not a great review. I've been really sick this week and it really has not helped how this whole thing has played out. I didn't hate the season. I really didn't. I know I've just complained about it for like half an hour, but I didn't. And I'm really glad that we are going to see Harley and Ivy again going into next season as a couple under a new writer. I'm excited to see where this adventure could lead us. I could do with less Batman next time. And again, not a Batman problem. I like me some Batman content. This show kind of needs to pick what it wants to be, doesn't it? It needs to pick whether it wants to be a Gotham show or a show about Harley and Ivy. I know what my preference is, but it's not up to me. The show, like I said, needs to decide. I'm really not sure how I'd rate this season overall. I still think season 1 was probably my favourite as an overall season as well. I think it's probably the easiest season to rewatch of the 3. As far as episodes go of this season, I think my favourite was probably A Thief, a Mole, and Orgy, or begrudgingly, of course, the Batman Begins Forever episode. This season has had some really high points, and I've discussed them as I've gone through. Like, there are lots of moments I did like in this season. I am not against Harley having adventures with the Bat family, neither am I against her choosing not to smash people's heads in, I guess. Her alignment with Bruce Wayne specifically is an issue for me. Her alignment with Bruce Wayne over Ivy upsets me tenfold. But this season was not that bad. I just like analysing media. If that's not your thing, then I really apologise for putting you through all this. Mostly I want to know what you guys think, because it seems to me, based on the poll I did and just kind of speaking to as many people as I can over the last few weeks, that I am in the minority here in regards to thinking it was kind of a meh season. Most people seem to really enjoy it, and that's totally fine. I actually really want to know why you guys enjoyed it and what you enjoyed about it, and either come find me in the Discord, jump in the chat there, because we have like 3 different Harley chats going on at any given time, or comment below. I didn't manage to get back to a lot of comments last episode, again, chronic illness kicking my ass, but I will definitely get back to as many as I can this week. Also, one small thing, Primal Humanist commented on the video asking what I thought about an Ivy spin-off and whether I think this Ivy and Frank could hold their own show. One, contextually, I don't think they need to, because I would prefer to see Harley and Ivy in the same show, but could this Ivy and Frank, could Lake Belle hold her own show? Absolutely, and it's weird that people on Reddit were so upset with you for asking that question. If you guys do have any questions as well, like I said, a good place to find me will be every Tuesday going forward at 8 PM GMT on Twitch, where I will be about to discuss anything and everything you like. Last week I played some Planet Zoo and some Sims, and we chatted. It was super cool, fun. This week I couldn't do it because I'm sick, but next week I hope you can all try and join me for that. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. That was a half an hour rant about Harley Quinn. Hopefully in editing I've got it down to more like 20 minutes, but right now I'm about to hit 40. Thank you for always putting up with me. I truly don't deserve it. You're the best. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay cool. My name is Mage. This has been Black and White Thinking. Bye.